You ever have one of those moments burned so deep into your memory, you can still feel the air in the room when it happened? That's what this day was for me. It started in the middle of a noisy hallway at Westbrook High's lockers, slamming sneakers, squeaking kids, laughing and shouting as they rushed between classes. I was leaning against the wall by the stairwell, just minding my own business, holding a stack of books so tight my knuckles were white. I wasn't part of the noise, I never was. I learned a long time ago that if you stayed small and quiet, the trouble usually passed you by. Usually. From the far end of the hall, I saw him, Officer Ray Cutler, the so-called school safety officer, though everyone knew he acted more like a cop looking for suspects than a mentor looking out for kids. He was a big man, built like he'd been carved out of a wall, and he had this slow, deliberate walk that made you feel like you were already in trouble before he even opened his mouth. Our eyes met for a split second. His didn't just look, they measured, judged. Like I was a problem he'd already decided how to handle. Red shirt jeans, he called out loud enough for the crowd to hear, "You think this school's a flea market?" I blinked, trying to process if he was actually talking to me. "I'm wearing what's allowed," I said quietly, trying to keep my voice even. He smirked, not the friendly kind, but the one that says you just made his day more interesting. The rule is, me kid. That's when the hallway shifted. Kids started slowing down, glancing over their conversations, cutting short. I could feel them watching. Ray stepped closer, his shadow falling over me. "Put the books down, open the bag. I want to see what's inside." "They're just school books," I told him, hugging them tighter. My heart was picking up, but I refused to let my voice shake. "You think I'll take your word for it?" he sneered. "Around here, you don't get to choose what I believe." Phones started to appear subtle, but I noticed. So did he. His jaw tightened, but instead of backing down, he leaned in, his voice low enough to sting. "Better cooperate, unless you want things to get a whole lot worse." I wanted to disappear into the wall, but my legs stayed put. My mind kept repeating, "Don't give him a reason. Don't give him a reason." And then out of nowhere, his shin came up fast. The kick hit me right in the side. The breath left my body in a harsh gasp, books flying out of my arms and hitting the tile with a crack. I staggered, one knee down, pain shooting through my ribs. Kids gasped. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Ray didn't even blink. He stepped in close enough that I could smell his bitter coffee breath. And then the words that made my stomach twist, "Don't use that soft talking white girl voice with me." A few kids froze, others looked away, but every phone stayed pointed. My forehead was already starting to burn from the heat in my face, but the next thing I knew, he had a fist in my hair. Before I could react, he slammed my head against the edge of a locker. The metallic clang rang down the hall. Blood rushed into my vision, warm on my cheek. Somewhere a girl's voice trembled. She didn't do anything. I straightened slowly, one hand pressed to the cut, my vision swimming, but my eyes locked on his. Not in defiance, not in fear, just refusing to look away. And then everything changed. It started as a faint sound over the low hum of shocked whispers, the steady click of high heels against tile. The crowd parted without a word, and through the gap walked my mother, Veronica Lane. Tailored black suit, sunglasses that hid everything but the set of her jaw, and a presence that filled the hallway like a storm rolling in. Behind her, three men in dark suits, sunglasses, earpieces tucked in neat coils behind their ears. Secret Service. The real kind. I heard someone whisper, "That's her mom." Another kid muttered, "He's done." Ray's hand slid off my shoulder, but he didn't step far. He squared himself like he was ready to defend his ground. Veronica didn't break stride until she was standing between us. One hand went back to touch my arm, a silent, "I've got you." Her voice came out calm but sharp enough to cut glass. What she asked, "Did you just do to my daughter?" I tried on a smirk that didn't fit. She didn't follow orders. I was enforcing discipline. One of the agents stepped half a pace forward, his tone level, but lethal. "You just assaulted a minor in front of cameras." Ray ignored him, keeping his eyes on my mom. I decide what's right and wrong here, he said. Her head tilted slightly, her voice never rising. No, you just decided to end your career. And that's when the first video hit the internet. A short clip. Ray's kicked my books, flying me crumpling. The caption, school cop or violent thug. In minutes, it had thousands of views. Within hours, hundreds of thousands. Hashtags exploded, hashtag justice for Maya, protect our kids, had to end school violence. Then came the second video, a side angle showing him grabbing my hair and slamming my head. That one hit harder. People couldn't unsee it. Comments poured in, fire him now. Charge him. This is a crime. A petition demanding his suspension hit 150,000 signatures before the day ended. The next morning, the local police tried to play it safe. We're conducting an internal investigation. But that same afternoon, an email leaked from a high-ranking officer telling staff to control the narrative, protect the department's image, avoid sacrificing Ray to public pressure. If they thought that would blow over, they miscalculated. News outlets ran the videos, back-to-back pundits tore apart the leaked email, and parents started organizing a protest outside the school. Strangers messaged my mom offering legal help. Even celebrities started sharing the clips with captions like, "If this was your kid, what would you do?" By the third day, the FBI announced they were taking over. Not just because of the assault, but because my mom's position meant it involved national security personnel. That same afternoon, agents walked into the school, took Ray's badge and gun, and escorted him out. They pulled every frame of security footage, interviewed every witness, students, teachers, even the janitor who'd been sweeping near the stairwell. And they didn't just look at that day. They dug into his whole record, every complaint that had been handled internally and quietly buried. A week later, the school board called a disciplinary hearing. Ray's lawyer tried the same tired defense school safety protocol potential threat. My mom waited until it was her turn, then stepped to the podium with a USB drive. The projector lit up with crystal clear security footage. No shaky hands, no bad angles. The kick, the slam, the blood, and then her stepping into the frame with the agents. She didn't narrate. She didn't need to. This, she said, pointing to the image of me clutching my backpack while bleeding, is proof she made no threatening move. No weapon, no resistance, just a child trying to protect herself. You could have heard a pin drop. Even his lawyer stopped writing notes. The video ended with her pointing at Ray in that hallway and saying, "You're going to lose more than you think." And I swear in that room it landed heavier than the first time. Ray didn't say a word when it was over. The story didn't just stay in our town. It went national, then global headlines in Europe, Asia, Australia. People started using my image, a girl in a red shirt with blood down her cheek, as a symbol for school safety and racial justice. Lawsuits were filed, reforms were demanded, and Ray Cutler became the face of why change was needed. I don't know exactly what's going to happen to him. Charges are pending, the FBI is still working, and the protests haven't stopped. But I know that day started with me pressed against a wall trying to disappear. And it ended with me standing in the middle of a storm unbroken, while the man who tried to knock me down faced the weight of the world. So I'll ask you, if you saw a cop do that to a kid in your school, your neighborhood, would you step in, would you film it, or would you look away? Because this time people didn't look away, and it changed everything.